Hello, senior seminar students. This video is going to focus on milestone 3, the draft of the discussion section. This is the final milestone for your research project. For this milestone, be sure to address the bullets here in the prompt. As you discuss your research, your hypothetical study that you developed, you're going to tie the discussion back to the original research question, the question that you developed and sought to answer with this hypothetical study. You're going to talk about the hypothesis, and you're going to discuss whether or not the hypothesis was supported by the hypothetical results. Keeping in mind you made up the results based on your research design and expected findings, you're going to discuss if your hypothesis was supported or not. But beyond that, the why and how must be addressed as well. In other words, you're going to say, yes, the hypothesis was supported. Why do you think that was the case? Or, on the other hand, if the hypothesis was not supported, you're going to discuss why. And maybe there was research bias. Maybe there was limitations to your study in terms of sample size or recruitment or with random sampling. You're going to include that in your discussion section. The next thing that you want to address is how do the findings of your study fall in with the existing knowledge, the literature that you reviewed. So early on for milestone 1, you conducted a literature review. You looked at related studies and you found a research gap, and that research gap informed the design of this hypothetical study. Now, after hypothetically conducting this study and carrying it out and testing your hypothesis and obtaining hypothetical results, how do those results fit in with the existing literature? Do they contradict what we already know about that topic? Do they add a piece of knowledge that was missing? Be sure to discuss this with detail in your discussion section. Lastly, you want to talk about how the research could be applied, extended, and or improved. So when you were looking for your research gap, what you did was you went back to related studies, and in the discussion section of those studies, the researchers talked about the limitations of that study. They talked about recommendations for future research that's related to that topic. And that may have been what informed your research gap. You're going to do the same exact thing in your study. You're going to identify maybe what limitations, how this study can be applied in real-world settings, how future researchers who are interested in this topic may extend upon or improve your research design. Every research study has limitations and can be improved upon. This is the cyclical nature of psychological research. A publication is made. Researchers who are interested in that topic look at the flaws, the limitations of that research, and that informs how they develop their research study similar to what you did. So use other studies maybe to model how you will develop your discussion section, but be sure to include all of these elements. And as I said, this is the final section of your research report. When you develop your discussion section, it should be approximately 3 to 4 pages in length. That's double space times New Roman font, and adhere to APA formatting when citing and for developing your entire project. This will be the final milestone, and then you will put all the pieces of the project together and submit a coherent, polished draft as your final project. If you have any questions as you develop your discussion section, be sure to reach out to your instructor.